yeah, 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 yeah.
Hi, my name's Sam Pansino. We're here at PHATT Audio Concepts for episode 5 of NSayne TV. This week we'll be covering part 2 of Tekken, part 2 of the Aurion, and we'll be looking at the Brett files where we're talking about time correction, and we'll have a look at a couple of cars that are cooking inside. Let's have a look. Last week we showed you the bonnet scoop in its first stage of just feathering it in. It's now been high filled in its first stage of high fill. There's a couple of little pinholes that now we can see where they are. And yeah, the line through the center of the bonnet's really nice and sharp. It's really starting to come together. So this thing will get a nice rub back and then another flow coat again, just so we make this thing really nice and smooth. And it's gonna look awesome. Come with me, we'll have a look under the car, we'll see how these sub boxes have been done. If we take a look under the car here, we can see where the sub boxes have gone in place of the old battery tray and the old toolbox area. We've resin coated the wood that was on the outside, we've also hit it with stone guard and it's sealed it up. Looks like it's part of the car, and that's the way we like to do things around here. Make it look like it was meant to be there. Following up on last week, we had the engine bay and the door jambs all painted up. We've now painted the inside of the doors. Come and have a closer look. Looking closely at the doors, you can see the way this thing's been painted. It could have only been painted by a master, and well, that master's veto, as we know. The paintwork on this is just absolutely incredible. Just with the choice of colors, it just highlights every curve on it. This thing looks amazing. Last week we showed you an Evo 9 with its custom dash panel getting made. This week we have an Evo 10 getting a really nice audio system put into it. Who knows, next week we might even have an Evo 11. Nah. Let's have a look at what we've done, or what we're doing. Just to give you an idea of how complicated this kind of work can get sometimes, here we're just in the middle of setting up all the crossovers, which are little circuit chips that sit inside these amplifiers. It takes quite a while to get everything right. We've also got an equalizer there that's going to have to be RTA'd, which is a real-time analyzer, which that'll come up on the Brett files. And you can see even without any of the coverings on, the wiring is done really nice and neat. One thing we pride ourselves on, even without fascia boards, our wiring is really neat. So you can be like driving around without the boards on and still be proud of your audio system. Having the battery in the boot makes it really easy to run the zero gauge cabling through. The Stinger cable is really thick, but being that it's a brand new car, there's not a lot of room in the cabin. The battery's in the boot. This makes our job really easy. There's a nice big fuse mounted on top of the battery as well, just in case of any shorts between the battery and the amp. If we look inside the door, you can see on the inner door skin the Stinger roadkill that we use. We like to use the Stinger roadkill because it just seems a bit thicker than some of the other brands that are out there without being too overly thick. The adhesion on the Stinger stuff, once you roll this on, it doesn't come off. Like you can look at this in a year's time, it's not going to be folding off and peeling back. Stinger roadkill is the best sound deadening on the market, as to what we think anyway. If we take a look at the way the front speaker's been mounted, it's on a 30mm MDF spacer, being painted in black. It has its foam between the speaker and the wood in the metal itself. It's been spaced out far enough so that way it actually goes right into the door trim, because we could go further back with the speaker, but we don't want any internal reflections. So if we bring the speaker all the way out to the door trim, there's no way it's going to bounce inside. Last time we saw this Cadillac, it was all stripped down bar the doors. The doors had been taken off yesterday. We sent them off to the media blasters. Day 2, they're back already. It's taken everything off. Basically the way the media blasters do it, it's a perfect job. There's no paint left anywhere. You can see these door skins are actually really nice. The owner of the car is going to be wrapped when he sees how healthy these door skins are, especially for a car that's 50 years old this year. So it's doing really well for itself. If we take a closer look while Vito's not around, these are Vito's rims off his personal car that he's been building up since he was about 15 years old. He's finally decided to finish his project. They don't look like much yet, but wait till you see these on the car. This is a European car, being that he's a European car enthusiast and a half. With his own pride and joy, you're going to see what Vito's really capable of when he's let loose. Another cool project in the making is a two-door Galaxy that we're working on. This is the bonnet for it. It's in its second coat of high fill, so now it's just ready for its rub back. The way this car is going to be painted, it's going to get painted in gloss black first, just to see if there's any ripples in it. That's how serious this guy wants to get. Then we're going to block back the car again and paint it with the Holden effigy color, which is a gorgeous, like a wineberry sort of color. Brett's WRX is painted in the same color as well, which is actually where he stole his color from, this guy's car. When you see this Galaxy, it is to die for. Underneath is detailed just as much as on top. We seem to be doing a lot of those cars lately, but this Galaxy is going to be a work of art. And we're apparently also doing a very big audio system in the boot, where we're going to be making it look like a lounge room in the back of his boot. We're talking, polished floor tiles and, polished floorboards, like an LCD to make it look like he's got his big lounge room, mini couches, a bear rug, the whole lot. We're going to make it like, if you were to look at this, you're looking at a mini lounge room. That bonnet scoop's coming along nicely, isn't it? Still to come, we'll be looking at the Brett files, where he's talking about the time correction. We've got part 2 of the Aurion, which is coming up right now. And we also get to look at some of the NSayne rides that we've got here tonight. You've got to see some of these cars, they're crazy. So let's have a look at the Aurion. Okay, as you can see our little pack badge there, that's actually been photo etched. And the speaker grills that cover the speaker, we've had those custom made as well. They've been photo etched. And if you look carefully, it says TRD and it runs down on an angle through the actual speaker as well. And then it's been backlit with a Perspex ring and some blue LEDs just to make them look a bit special. And they come on when you open up the door. So it's like a courtesy light. And if you see this thing at night, it is sexual. So you can see the tweeters there. They've been mounted so they're pointing towards the revision mirror. So this car, we wanted to try and get the sound stage as far forward as possible. So basically when you close your eyes, the sound sounds like it's coming from the front of your dashboard. So if you were to go to a concert, you're trying to recreate that in the car where you want the sound to be in front of you. You don't go to a concert with your back facing the people on stage. That's what we're trying to recreate in the car. When building a door trim or a door pod, what we try and do is to integrate it into the door trim itself so it looks like it belongs there. The top line that we have here that flows along here follows the top line of the door trim, so it looks like it's meant to be there. The angle at the back of the door pod follows the angle of the door handles, so once again, making it look like it's meant to be there, it follows the same path. And then the speakers themselves, if we run the speakers straight, it didn't sort of suit the car, so we ran the speakers up on an angle as well to help flow the whole door trim. And in the end, we painted it the same black as the dashboard as well, because that line runs right across the dash, and it just makes it look like it's meant to be there. Or even though it's been modified severely, it still looks really classy, because this is a classy car, not like an auto salon car, if you will. It's meant to look subtle, and we think we've accomplished that with the lines that we've chosen. If you just look at the reflections in the actual door pod themselves, every single line is seamless of all the reflections. Basically, we treat this as if it was a body panel. We high fill it, which is like that spray putty. We then guide coat it to see if there's any highs and lows. We look for pinholes. Then we sand it back, high fill it again a second time just to make sure it's all nice and straight. Especially being black, black is like a mirror. So when you spray it, it needs to look perfect. There are absolutely no ripples on these door trims. They look flawless. One would say sexual. One could say sexual, and one did say sexual. How good was that Aurion? That is one crazy car. I told you that's why that's one of my favorites. That car is just sexual. You're watching NSayne TV. Later on in the episode, we're going to cover part 2 of Tekken. But in the meantime, let's go and have a look at the Brett files, see what gizmos he's got to show us. I think we're talking about time correction, so let's see what he's got in store.
Hi, I'm Brett from PHATT Audio Concepts, and today in the Brett files we'll be discussing time correction. You ever sat in your lounge room at home where all the speakers are pointing directly at you, and you can almost point to where the sound's coming from? You can pick where the vocalist is, where the drummer is, where the guitarist is. Well, you can do that in your car as well using time correction. When you're sitting in your car, obviously you'll be on the right hand side in Australia. We all drive on the right hand side, hopefully. And the closest speaker to you is the driver's speaker. The passenger speaker on the left hand side is usually 1.5 meters